Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Manitoba Start is the leading provider of career services to newcomers in the province of Manitoba and connects business to a world-class workforce. I would like to welcome you all to this Spotlight webinar, a series of live broadcasted events designed to assist you in entering the Manitoba labor market. Manitoba Start acknowledges that we are gathered on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Dakota Oyate, Denisuluni, and Nihitawak nations, in the homeland of the Red River Métis. We acknowledge that our water is sourced from Shoal Lake 41st Nation. As a newcomer serving organization, we commit to learning about the histories, cultures, and the rights of the Indigenous communities to strive to build a respectful and supportive relationship for all. Today's webinar is focusing on education and learning, early childhood learning. My name is Luna. I'm the Outreach Coordinator here at Manitoba Start, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Given the large number of participants who have joined us in this webinar, we have muted your microphone to allow for better clarity and less interference. So before we begin, I will be going over a couple of housekeeping items. You can use the raise hand features to indicate that you have a question or a comment. And to do this, you can click on the participants button in the meeting controls and find the raise hand icon next to your name, and you can click on it. And this will notify us that we have a raised hand. And then I will let you know that I have unmuted your microphone, and you have to unmute yourself from your side to speak as well. Teams webinar provides a Q&A feature as well that allows attendees to ask questions specifically in the Q&A panel. And to access this, click on the More Options 3 dots button in the meeting controls and select Q&A, and then you can type your question in the Q&A while the session was going as well. Feel free to use the chat if you couldn't find the Q&A. If you are using a mobile device, you can use all the features. Okay, so before I introduce you to our presenter for today, I would like to run a few polls just to get to know you more better. So we have 4 polls for today. I'm gonna launch the first one. So the first poll asks, are you registered with Manitoba Start? You can click on yes or no and click on submit. I'll give you a moment to answer. Okay, we will now close the poll and I will share the results with you. Okay, so we have everyone who's registered with Manitoba Start for 12 responses. Thank you, everyone. Let's go to our second poll. And the second poll is asking, do you need help with a resume, cover letter, or interview preparation? You can click on yes or no, the same, and click on submit. If you can see this, the polls on your screen, just feel free to use the polls to answer your question. Thank you. Okay, now we will close the polls and I'll share the results with you. Okay, we have 46% responses yes and 54% no. For those of you who need employment support, we will share more information with you by the end of the session. However, if you are a Manitoba Star client and you know your career coach, feel free to connect with your career coach as well. If not, connect with our front desk. They will connect you with your career coach. Okay, our third poll for today is asking your location. So where are you joining us from today? Northern Manitoba, Southern Manitoba, Winnipeg, or you're outside of Canada? I'll give you a moment to answer. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's okay, Harjot. Thank you for letting me know. If you can see the polls on your screen, feel free to reply. Okay, now I will be closing the poll. Okay, we have 6% from Southern Manitoba, we have 88% from Winnipeg, and 6% from outside of Canada. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Okay, our last poll for today is asking, what's your reason for attending this webinar? Are you an internationally educated professional, a settlement worker, a career coach, or other? I see some responses on the chat. Thank you, everyone. Okay, now we will close the poll. Okay, we have a mix of clients today. We have 31% internationally educated professionals, 8% settlement workers, and 15% career coaches, and 46% other. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating in the polls. Our today's webinar is with the Government of Manitoba on education and early childhood learning. Manitoba Education and Early Childhood Learning oversee licensed early learning and child care system in the province, including certifications of child care workers. With growing demand and opportunities for advancement, careers in child care offer stability, purpose, and the joy of making a meaningful difference in the lives of children and families every day. Our today's session will cover how to become an early childhood educator, the certification and hiring processes that include a day in the life of an ECE, overview of the clarification and certification process, the various pathways to become an early childhood educator, including education and training options, tuition support, wages and benefits, and the job market insight, why now is a great time to join the field, application guidance, employment opportunities like full-time, part-time, or casual, and then we'll have a Q&A session with the representative as well. So please help me welcome Melissa from the Government of Manitoba. Over to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Lena. Hi, everyone. I'll just pop up my presentation in just 1 second. Okay, can you see that, Luna?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Melissa Shapiro. I'm a policy analyst with Early Learning and Childcare in the Workforce Development Unit. And today we'll be talking about exploring opportunities for a rewarding career in childcare. For today's agenda, we'll be looking through the early childhood education in Manitoba, a day in the life of an ECE, classifications and qualifications, ECE training and the assessment program, tuition support, wages and benefits, job market insights, application guidance, and of course a Q&A at the end. So early childhood education in Manitoba serves children aged 12 weeks to 12 years old in infant, preschool, nursery, and school-age programs. We have 1,159 facilities across the province, which is a combination of for-profit and not-for-profit childcare centers and family childcare homes, resulting in a total of 41,870 childcare spaces province-wide. And our sector is made up of over 10,000 childcare assistants and trained early childhood educators that provide emergent play-based curriculum that supports child development. So a day in the life. Early childhood educators, or ECEs, are professionals who use pedagogical practices to support the cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development of children. This is achieved through strong attachments with planned and spontaneous activities rooted in an emergent play-based curriculum. Early childhood educators promote learning. They engage with children in ways that foster their physical, social, emotional, and cognitive language development. How? Through an emergent play-based curriculum that incorporates children's interests, abilities, and into planned and spontaneous activities. They also support well-being. ECEs support children's emotional, social, and spiritual well-being through holistic approaches. How? ECEs provide warm and responsive caregiving that meets children's individual needs, demonstrating a relationship built on respect and trust. Early childhood educators also build connections. They develop trusting relationships with the child, their family, colleagues, and the community. They do this by establishing open and honest communication with the family, which deepens the connection and strengthens the partnership as you work together in the best interest of the child. So classification is required for all staff working in a licensed center or nursery school. Individuals must apply for classification prior to or immediately upon beginning employment. There is currently no cost for classification certification, and currently classification does not require renewal, so it does not expire. There are currently 3 different classifications of childcare workers in Manitoba, and we will look at each of them now. So we have the childcare assistant as our first classification, the CCA. So once you are classified and get a job, you must complete at least 40 hours of training related to the field of early learning and childcare. And this must be taken within 1 year of employment in a licensed early learning and childcare center or nursery school. So all courses included in the approved ECE diploma program qualify towards the 40-hour course requirement. And if you apply for classification at the ECE2 or ECE3 levels, but do not meet the education standards for those levels, you will automatically be classified as a childcare assistant. Also, if you have already completed a 40-hour course within the previous 8 years, you may be able to show that as evidence and not have to take the 40-hour course. So CCAs work in childcare centers, nursery schools, or family childcare homes. Now, the Early Childhood Educator 2, or ECE 2. To be classified at the ECE 2 level, you must have completed a 2-year post-secondary diploma or degree related to early childhood education that equals Manitoba ECE program standards. So it's very important to note that your post-secondary degree or diploma must be at least 2 years of full-time or 4 semesters of study. In Manitoba, the ECE diploma program must be approved by a committee called the Manitoba Childcare Qualifications and Training Committee and equal 1,800 to 2,000 study hours. So training requirements, again, ECE2s must have completed a 2-year college or university diploma or degree that equals the standards in Manitoba, or you can complete the ECE2 assessment program, and we'll get into more information on that in a little bit. ECEs can work as a family childcare provider in childcare centers, nursery schools. They can be program supervisors in centers. They can also be directors in school-age centers and nursery schools. So for the Childhood Educator 3, ECE 3, to be classified at the ECE 3 level, you must meet the education requirements for the ECE 2 classification, which is a 2-year degree or diploma related to early childhood education, and complete a specialization or degree program equal to Manitoba ECE program standards. Currently in Manitoba, there are 3 programs that offer and lead to an ECE 3, and we'll get into that as well in a little bit. And then ECE 3s can work in family childcare homes, centers, or nursery schools. They can be a program supervisor in a childcare center. They're able to be directors of infant and preschool licensed childcare centers or various other roles, such as a post-secondary ECE instructor or a provincial childcare coordinator with the Manitoba government. So right now on your screen is a very handy, what we call our pathways posters. And this kind of shows all the different ECE2 programs in Manitoba. So diploma programs are available at a number of institutions in Manitoba, and there are a variety of delivery methods based on their institution, including hybrid, francophone, accelerated, and workplace. What's interesting about the workplace program is that a student will attend classes 2 days a week and work in their childcare center for 3 days a week, but they're paid for 5 days a week. Now, it helps people not only attend training, but still remain employed and earn income. So yeah, I can offer the training pathways poster to Luna if anyone wanted a copy of it. Just for reference, it's also available on our website. If you use the QR code right there, it'll link right to it. So I mentioned the ECE assessment program a little bit earlier, and this program was developed to give individuals with related credentials and experience a way to prove their competency at the ECE2 level. And this has been assisting individuals with prior experience and education to become ECE2s for over 30 years. The requirements for the program are based on education, work experience, and professional development. Applicants will work with an ELCC representative to assist with entering the correct stream. Each stream differs slightly in requirements. All streams require current employment in a childcare center, working a minimum of 20 hours per week directly with children. So the different streams are the prior learning assessment, or PLA, which requires a post-secondary degree or diploma, 2 years experience in a licensed Manitoba childcare center, and 60 hours of professional development. Then we have the Modified Prior Learning Assessment, or the MPLA. This requires ECE-specific training with a post-secondary certificate or diploma, as well as an additional degree or diploma in early childhood education, 60 hours of professional development as well. The next stream is the Internationally Educated Qualifications, or the IEQ stream. All international education does require a credential assessment. It is recommended that individuals with English as an additional language have an English language benchmark of 7 in all categories. An IEQ requires international post-secondary degree or diploma that is specifically focused on early childhood education. Then we have the competency-based assessment stream, which is the CBA. So this does not require prior education, but does require 5 years experience in a licensed childcare center and 125 hours of professional development. And right now the stream is only eligible for rural and northern childcare assistants at this time. So for this model, it is no cost. It's kind of self-led. So based on your motivation and willingness to complete assignments and tasks, it could take anywhere from 6 to 24 months to complete or longer. And then you'll also have a team of support. So you'll have contact with an ELCC staff, an advisor assessor, a peer assessor that will be located in this childcare center working with you. And then as well support from employer, friends, and family. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about tuition support. So the Department of Education and Early Childhood Learning in our division, Early Learning and Childcare, has 2 funding streams to support students in their pursuit for ECE training. The tuition reimbursement program is for students enrolled in an approved ECE diploma program who can receive up to $5,000 reimbursement per calendar year for tuition-related costs. So this means by the end of the second year of the program, you can receive up to $10,000 back in tuition. Eligibility requirements for tuition reimbursement require applicants pay the tuition and provide documents that show it was paid prior to reimbursement. And you also must be a permanent resident or Canadian citizen to be eligible for this funding stream. There is also what's called the training grant, and this is for students for up to $400 per year to cover the cost of the 40-hour course requirement. We have another stream of supports available. So our department, along with the Department of Business, Mining, Trade, and Job Creation and the Training and Employment Services branch, have collaborated to further share further training supports for those that are seeking an ECE diploma. So funding is available to help eligible participants complete post-secondary training to become an early childhood educator. You'll be assessed by funding eligibility, and this is done individually based on employability and financial need. Possible supports would be expenses covered, such as tuition, childcare. So if you have a child that needs care and support paying for that, transportation, living allowances, and more. And this depends on the individual need. And their supports are available for those registered and approved post-secondary institution or vocational institution as well. So we have the early learning and childcare wage grid up on the screen here. So the wage grid supplement is a funding that facilities receive to help raise wages towards the wage grid targets. So the board of directors do decide wages, but we've kind of created this wage grid to help support more consistent and improve pay across the sector as a whole. In 2025, the wage grid saw the largest increase at over $5 increase in some of the frontline staff positions. So I've highlighted there at the bottom in our 2026-2027 wage grid. You have the CCA with your 40-hour course, making $19.97. Now, if you decide that you're a CCA interested in becoming an ECE, there's a little bit of incentive there. So we have created the CCA and ECE2 training level. So while you're going to school, you can make a little bit more with 2302. And then once you graduate at it as an ECE2, you can make upwards of 2836. So along with the classification eligibility requirements we've talked about, there are other requirements that must be met before you can be hired as a child care worker. Again, you must have these to get a job, but not for classification. So to get hired as a CCA, ECE2, or ECE3, you need to have a valid certificate in standard level first aid and a certificate in level C CPR for infants and children. You must also have a valid criminal record check and child abuse registry check. Along with these requirements, you must be age of 18 or older to independently supervise a group of children in an early childhood setting. And again, and it's important to note that these are necessary to get a job, but not for classification. So with all this information, you may be wondering, where do I start? The best place to start would be to become classified and apply for classification with certification. So we have a new online application that is available. It is available actually only for childcare assistants and for Canadian Free Trade Agreement applicants. So the Canadian Fair Trade Agreement is available to Canadian residents who have been employed in or have certification as an early childhood educator from another Canadian jurisdiction and who wish to apply for classification in Manitoba. The assessment is based on the equivalency of their certification and their standing with the other Canadian jurisdiction. Online applications for ECE2, ECE3, reissue or upgrade, or international ECE2 assessments will be available soon. Right now, the department is accepting paper and online applications for CCA and CFTA applicants. Once paper applications are completely phased out, the online application will be the only application available. It is an effective tool that requires applicants to complete all fields and upload documents within the application, helping to reduce errors and processing delays. So we encourage folks to use the online form. So the first step would be to select the application type that applies to you. If you're using the online application, again, that is only for CCAs and Canadian Free Trade Agreement applicants. So that might be a few of you here today. So first, you would be to fill out the application, classification as a child care worker. The documents that are required for a CCA, you need 2 pieces of government issued ID. For ECE2, ECE3, or to upgrade, you need ECE specific transcripts. There is also a preliminary review, so our office will review your documents and your application. And if you do not qualify for ECE classification, you will automatically be classified as a child care assistant. Or if it may appear that you would qualify for ECE classification, Early Learning and Childcare will advise you to complete the credential assessment and classify you as a CCA while you're waiting for this report so that you can begin working. So if you were applying for an ECE2, ECE3 upgrade or reissue, applicants will be directed to the PDF form. So this one is available for that specific application. So we'll talk a little bit about job market insights, because right now childcare is an extremely in-demand career, and there are some factors that drive this. First are policy initiatives. So through the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Agreement, Manitoba successfully lowered parent fees to $10 a day in 2023. As well, there are economic drivers. Early childhood education is essential for enabling parental workforce participation, especially among women. And it is a business benefit because they have access to more workers. Those initiatives require a rapid increase in qualified professionals to meet the high demand. Next, there are developmental importances. So more families want access to high quality, affordable childcare due to the growing understanding of both positive educational and health outcomes for early childhood learning. And then as well, there's the workforce challenges. The sector faces an aging workforce right now. That's why Manitoba has introduced the largest ever wage increase and expanded training seats to address recruitment. And then the projected labor demand is huge. Over 100,000 new job openings are anticipated between now and 2031. So now is a really great time to join the field. We can open the floor to Q&A, but I just wanted to let everyone know that if you have questions, maybe a little bit more personal, or that you had a couple of questions and you wanted to discuss, we have a few contacts here on the screen. So we have our general information services line at cdcinfo@gov.mb.ca. And then my contact as well. Feel free to email me if there's anything that you have questions about from the presentation. And then I have also added my colleague Lindsay's email as well, as she is the one, if you are maybe interested in the ACE2 assessment program, she would be the one that you would be working with to get enrolled in that. And then if you're interested in further tuition supports, please contact Sheila LeBlanc from Training and Employment Services, and she'll help answer the questions that you have to get started from them. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa, for that very informative presentation. Sorry. Now we will open it up to the audience. Do you have any questions? Again, please type your question in the question panel box or raise your hand and we'll unmute you so you can ask your question. And we will try to get through as many as time permits. Okay, I see raised hand. Arezzo, I have allowed your mic. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So my question is that I am recently graduated, but not from any early childhood course. I'm just graduated in a business diploma, but I want to start my career in this particular field. So how do I start? Do I take a course, or because I can only do like a part-time course, less than 6 months. So what should I do?
Yeah, so I think anybody that's interested in starting right away into the field, their best bet would be to apply for certification for classification as a childcare assistant. Childcare assistants don't require any prior training or education. So if once you apply for certification and you're approved, it only takes you have basically 1 year to do the 40-hour course. So you can apply, get a job, and then you can do the course after.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Arezzo. Thank you, Melissa. I will allow the second person. Let me see. Yeah, I couldn't see the name. Okay, Nishaben, I have allowed your mic. You can ask your question. And Nishaben, I see your microphone is still muted. You can unmute yourself. Go ahead, please. Oh. So to ask your question, once you're allowed your mic, you have to unmute yourself from your side. Okay, we will go through the chat questions. But Nishaban, let me know if you can do it. So Melissa Noor is asking if I want to start in this field, what's the first step I should do?
The first step you should do is make sure that you have your 2 pieces of government issued ID and apply for classification as a child care assistant.
Okay. Nikema Soba is asking, I am a certified nurse assistant from the US. How can I change my certification to that of Manitoba?
Yeah, thank you for your question. So, in Manitoba, qualifications for prior education, qualify if it's related to early childhood education specifically, so early learning development and stuff like that. So a nursing education unfortunately won't qualify, but you have the opportunity to go through the ECE2 assessment program if you believe that your education would qualify, and Lindsay would be able to let you know if you fall in one of those streams. And if you don't, then the best case that you can do is jump right into the program. It's only a 2-year diploma program, could be 18 months depending on the institution that you choose, and just start right away in the program.
Okay, perfect. And Mohammed is asking, I'm a newly arrived here in Winnipeg and I have 17 years of education, including 1 year bachelor in education from Pakistan. So can I apply for the CCA or CCE or CCE2?
Yeah, I think anyone that has prior education should look into the ECE2 assessment program and let them kind of steer you in the right direction, because sometimes education might qualify, sometimes it qualifies a little bit, and sometimes it doesn't. So instead of maybe assuming you're in one or the other, have a conversation with Lindsay and see which one would fit your situation best.
Okay, great. I'm trying to allow the mic for Nishiben. Let's see if you can unmute yourself. Give you one more chance. Okay, I don't think so. The mic is working. So you can also write your question in the chat. So we'll give a chance to the others. Okay, Sineh, I have allowed your mic. See if you can unmute yourself. Sineh, if you can hear me, you can ask your question. Okay, so meanwhile, we will go on with the chat questions. Okay, Oliver is asking, I studied English and literature and I have been teaching without educational certification before I moved to Canada. Where do I start from?
Yeah, again, I would suggest the EC2 assessment program, since you have some education sort of related, but again, that area would be best to let you know where you would fall in the streams.
Okay, great. And Ilyomi is asking, I'm a graduate of business administration. I want to be an early child educator. How do I go about
Yeah.
it?
So unfortunately, a business administration background wouldn't qualify for ECE assessment as it's not related to childcare. However, it's amazing to have prior education experience. But I would suggest, if you want to be an early childhood educator, look at the schools that are available for the diploma program in Manitoba. So I will be sharing the pathways posters with Luna, and has linked to all of the different post-secondary institutions. Select which one you think matches you best based on, there's hybrids, so you can do online. Based on where you are in the province, there are some opportunities outside of Winnipeg as well. So yeah, just jump right into the program if you're interested in becoming an EC.
Okay, Ernesty is asking, since the CFTA is only eligible for Canadian citizens, can a permanent resident also eligible?
I I would assume not, but if you want to send me an email with your question, I can take it back to my team and send you a response in a couple of days.
Okay, great.
I'll put
And
my
I
email in the
will,
chat here.
yeah. Okay, perfect. And Owl is asking, I have a BSc Nutrition from Ghana and currently in Winnipeg on a work permit. Where do I start from? I have been a nutritionist practitioner in Ghana.
Wonderful. So yeah, like I said, prior education from other countries would qualify if they're related to early childhood development, early childhood and care. So for this situation, because it's a work permit, honestly, I'm not too sure if there are any stipulations with that. But if you want to get started into the field, applying for classification and certification is your first step. It doesn't require any formal education or training in the sector or field. So it's a great place to start if you're just wanting to get your foot in the door.
Sounds good. So, Mary, I will allow your mic. I've allowed your
Hi.
mic. Yeah, hello.
Yes. Hi. I think the question I wanted to ask is already confirmed because I wanted to ask what the criteria was for work permit. If you're trying to get into the early childhood education assistant, like someone that wants to pivot into that role, what experience can they build if they want to like find more opportunities?
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
childcare assistant, this is a really open entry level position. So you don't have to have any experience working with children. You don't have to have any experience in a formal childcare setting. It's really a good opportunity to see what it's like in the field just by applying for certification and beginning to work.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Melissa. And we have Ilahe asking, I have a master's degree in education, curriculum development. Is this appropriate?
Yeah, I would suggest that anything related to education or childcare or child development would be great opportunities to see which stream you would fall under in the ECE2 assessment program.
Okay, thank you. Babena Kariga is asking, as a native French speaker, currently learning English, is there a required English proficiency level before I can enroll in the training? Or am I allowed to start now?
That's a great question. There are Francophone options for ECE2 training, and I believe that is at St. Boniface. So, second here. Yeah, so University of St. Boniface is a Francophone university. So that is an option there. I don't believe the language benchmark applies to French, but yeah, I can follow up on that for sure.
Okay, perfect. And have you mentioned about assessment program, Melissa? Noor is asking, what is the assessment program? Can we have the link?
Yeah, I can put the link in the chat. Everything that I've talked about today, more information can be found on our website. So I'll add a link to our website for you.
Okay, and Harjot is asking, I'm a nurse at my back home. I have 3 years diploma in nursing and 15 years of experience. How can I get CCA training?
Perfect. So, like I said, CCA training is only required once you already have a job and you have 1 year to take that training. So the facility is actually very helpful in helping you find that type of training and where you can get it. And then they can help you apply for the funding as well, the training grant.
Okay, great. Ernestine is asking, is the purpose of this training to give us diploma in ECE or to give us the information to become one?
So yeah, a lot of information here in this presentation. What's interesting about the program is that almost depending on where you are, there is a path for you. So if you are right from high school, you can enter right away. If you're internationally educated, there's a path for you. If you don't really know if you want to enter ECE diploma, but you want to start working in the field, there's a path for you for that. So really, it's just we're talking here about all the different ways that you can enter the field to become an early childhood educator. So to become an early childhood educator, if you're like, yeah, that's my first step, that's what I want to do, find a post-secondary institution that works best for you, and they have all their information on enrollment, their specific tuition costs, the classes, all that.
Okay, great. And Meenakshi is asking, I'm working on a daycare. How can I be an ECE?
Wonderful. You're already working in a childcare center. So I would suggest finding an institution, a post-secondary institution that meets kind of what you're looking for. So like I said, the Pathways poster is really great because it talks about all the different options in delivery method. So like I said, you have online and hybrid, you have the workplace, accelerated, Winnipeg, Northern Manitoba. So it really depends on which school interests you. Then you would just apply and register to become a student.
Great. And Doreen is asking, if someone wants to start a daycare center, what's the procedure, please?
For sure. So that's a whole different can of worms. So I will add the link here in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Senna, thank you for writing your question here. So how much time it will take to complete the assessment as ECE 2 as internationally educated teacher?
Yeah. So the ECE2 program is self-led, self-paced. So it's really a bit about the person's motivation to finish and availability to do so. So it could take anywhere from 6 months to 24 months or longer to complete the program. So everything is, yeah, decided on the student, and how long it would take them to complete is based on their motivation to do the assignments.
Okay, great. And Modinato is asking, if I want to register for the course, what's the procedure?
Are you referring to the 40-hour course or the ECE diploma courses?
Maybe we can wait for the reply. But you have put some link in there, right, for the assessment?
Yep. You'll see the link for internationally educated applicants, and that'll share more information about qualifications for the ECE2 program, as well as frequently asked questions. Both. Okay. So for the 40-hour course, typically you would already be employed in a facility, and they can assist you in finding a 40-hour course that you'd be interested in, and then they also apply on behalf of you for the training grant. So the training grant covers $400, and I believe a majority of the courses are around that cost. And then as well, to apply for, just looking for your question here, register for the ECE diploma course, you would select a post-secondary institution of your choosing and register as a student in that institution.
Okay, sounds great. And we have a call asking, hi, I am Madruhri. I'm studying in my educational assistant program. How can I join ECE?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So they're saying I'm studying in my educational assistant program. How can I join the ECE?
Okay, yeah. So educational assistants, a little bit different. So educational assistants work in schools. So they work in the kindergarten to grade 12 sector. So that's a different type of study. So I'm not sure if they would really conflict at all if you were to take them at the same time. But to start as an ECE, I would suggest deciding on which post-secondary institution you would prefer and register with them. I'll add the pathways poster here in the chat too, which links to all the schools.
Okay, great. We have Samia asking the same question as well, so that would be great. Okay, and Ernesto is asking, you mentioned casuals. Can you tell me if casual contracts are necessarily for 1 year and then the candidate must reapply, or if the contract will simply be renewed for the following year?
I'm not sure what you mean by casuals. Um, if this is relating to certification, so certification as a classification for CCA doesn't expire. So there's no reason for renewal. So you would be a CCA for life. So I was a CCA from like 2016 to 2021. So if I decided tomorrow I wanted to go back into the program and work in a facility, I would still be, my certification would still probably be active.
Okay, great. Okay, is the payroll table you display a standard Manitoba result or just an approximate?
Yeah, so it's something that we've come out with in 2022. We came out with a wage framework. And so this was intended to help facilities start um, creating more of a standard for wages across the sector, which now in 2026 is definitely more common. So because 95% of facilities in Manitoba are nonprofit organizations, they are their own business. So their board of directors do have the authority to decide wages. So there are some variations from facility to facility, but what the point of the wage grid is to have some sort of consensus. So facilities are provided with a wage grade supplement to provide increases to wages, and that is what the funding is intended for.
Okay, great. And Oliver is asking, after the submission of child care worker application form, what's the next thing to do?
You can start looking for facilities to that have vacancies and jobs. The application process right now for certification, I believe, is anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So you just have to wait a little bit for your certification, but that doesn't mean you can't apply for jobs in the meantime. And we actually have a special search tool that I'll enter in the chat. It's an interactive map that allows you to search for facilities maybe where you live or where you work, and then allow you to have access to their email or phone number or website, and you can call and ask if they have vacancies. Sometimes on the map, they have included information about staff vacancies as well. So it's a great tool. There you go in the chat.
Great. Okay, so I see Owl is asking those of us on open work permit currently in Winnipeg. Can we go to school? Please, how do you please how do you do the certification? I didn't understand your earlier explanation.
Right. So to do the classification on our website, it shows all the different types of certification. So if you're applying for a CCA or CFTA, then you will use the online application, and all of the information is there. You just have to plug it in and make sure you have your 2 pieces of government issued ID, and you're good to go.
Okay, great. Next, we have Pinder asking how to start 40-hour course and how can I get any grant for it?
Yeah, so the 40-hour course is only required after you have employment at a childcare facility within 1 year of being employed. So if you get a job today, June 4th, you don't have to take the course until next year, June 4th. That's the deadline. The facility will help you find the courses and apply for the training grant. So they apply on your behalf and they get the funding.
Okay, and Pavnit is asking, I have done course from other province. Does that works? I'm looking for job a long time. Long time. I didn't got any call from how to look out for that.
Yeah, so some 40-hour courses that you might have taken in the past might qualify if they are taken within the last 8 years. So if you have evidence of taking that course, then you can probably use that and kind of have the 40-hour course waived, then you would have it completed.
Okay, perfect. Harjot is asking for recording. There will be recording on our website. I'll show you where to find it by the end of the session when we do wrap up as well. And Sina is asking, I'm already in the process of ELCC assessing my application for EC2, how much it will take.
Like how long will it take?
Yeah.
So I believe it anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks right now is the timeline for applications being processed.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and thank you everyone for your excellent questions. Um, let me share my screen. Again, thank you everyone for choosing Manitoba Start because our services are for free and funded by Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada in the province of Manitoba. Your feedback plays an important role in helping us improve and continue to provide high quality services. So there is this short 3-minute survey that helps us understand your experience and ensure we're meeting the needs of the newcomers. Your responses are confidential and will only be reported in aggregate without identifying you in any way. So please help us complete this survey by scanning the QR code on the screen, or maybe I can also share the link on the chat. I'll give you a few minutes to complete, and you will find today's event type. So just fill it as an information session, as you can see on the screen. So you can say information session. Thank you, everyone. So if you are currently not a Manitoba Star client, you can call our front desk, visit in person at 271 Portage Avenue, or maybe go to our website. We do have a registration form in there. You can register and be a client with Manitoba Start. By registering with us, you will connect with settlement services and have access to career services that can assist you with your resume development, career planning, job search strategies, and interview skills. For our list of programs and services, you can check our website. By registering with us, you will also be eligible to attend our in-person and virtual webinars like this, or in-person events that we have with employers, like speed networking events, hiring events, maybe information sessions as well. And I encourage everyone to follow us on social media. Like we are active on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. This will help you to get up to date for our current programs and events. So for those of you who missed this webinar, or maybe Harjot, you were saying you couldn't hear clearly, so visit our webinar recordings. You'll find it on our event on the website. Just click there and you will see webinar recording, so you can access it from there, and many other webinars that you have missed before as well. So on behalf of Melissa from the Government of Manitoba and the Manitoba START team, thank you everyone for attending. Stay well.
Thanks, everyone.